Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we're going to talk about what pushes your ex away. We're going to unpack a couple real breakup stories that came into writemac.com. If you got a story you want to share, or you want me to unpack, or a situationship, go to writemac.com and send it in. If you'd like to book a live coaching session, all coaching sessions are fully refundable if you don't find them good in moving forward, useful and helpful. I stand on that. I stand by that. So let's get into this today. What pushes your ex away? This is a really good question to ask yourself, because a lot of times you're only looking at what's going to get them back. And sometimes it's counterintuitive when you're in your first serious breakup. And your worst breakup is your first serious breakup usually. And your first serious breakup can be when you're 35. It could be your third girlfriend. It could be your fourth boyfriend. It has to do with what happened, where you're at in life, and the circumstances of that breakup. Okay. And that's why it would affect you in a different way. So, and this actually, when you think about it, applies to human nature, it applies to sales, it applies to business, it applies to friendships. Okay. You push people away, number one, by trying harder. I've often said, don't be the annoying salesman. If you've ever been around a salesperson that just keeps trying to sell you something and you've said no repeatedly and you become extremely annoyed and you decide you'll never buy anything from that person, right? Now, a lot of people, this is really difficult because they look at it and they go, well, if I try harder, when I do sports or when I do business, I never quit. This is a thing that comes up a lot. I've seen this in many, many posts. I've never quit, right? It's not about quitting. It's about accepting reality. Okay. If you got fired from a job and you came back to the job and you kept telling them how great a worker you are and you're going to change everything, they might change their mind. But if you come back numerous times, they'll call security, right? They would call security and they would say, hey, you know what? Get this guy off the premises. Unfortunately, your ex can't do that. Sometimes they might call the police, but they're not going to call security. What they do is they feel sorry for you a lot of times. They have pity. And so they'll let you continue to do that, or they enjoy the validation. Who doesn't like attention? Who doesn't like when you want them, right? And so you're playing into that for some people. But by trying harder, you're not being more attractive. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, when you first pulled them or got them or dated them, I would think it wasn't a hard bit of trying. Like, you didn't have to ask for their number multiple times. You didn't have to really beg for them to go out with you. I'm sure some people were like, oh, that was me. Well, how you start the relationship's how it's going to end up. And so if you want to be in that position, then be a doormat, right? Number two, not accepting the breakup. What pushes your ex away? This is actually the most attractive thing you can do. In the moment, it's probably the most difficult. But if you can go, okay, I accept it. I accept what you're saying. I heard what you got to say. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. I understand what you said. I accept it. And sit on that. When you sit on that, the other person has to sit on their idea that they really want to break up with you. They got to sit on the idea that you're not resisting this. You're pulling the chair out from under the situation. You're going, all right, no resistance. Now, if they ever did want to get back with you or they want to reconsider things, they won't feel the resistance because you've accepted their reasons. You've accepted that they want to break up with you. Doesn't mean you like them. You accept their perspective, right? You agree to disagree. Number three, talking crap about who they are seeing. This is huge. Men do it more than women. But the minute your ex starts seeing someone new, or they were seeing someone while you were together, and you are trying to get them back or you want them back, and you decide to start talking shit about them, about the new guy, it's like a poor loser. It's like the equivalent of, I'm a big basketball fan. Someone loses a basketball game and they go, we were the better team. We were the better team. We should have won. You didn't win, dude. Right? Like, get off the court. Oh, the refs did this. Well, the refs are always part of the game, right? So you come off as a poor loser It's pathetic in some cases because some guys just keep doing it. The trouble now with social media is you'll go research the new guy and then you'll put together this profile of how shitty he is, right? It doesn't help you in any way. And you going back to your ex and be like, look what a dork this guy is, or what's this? It doesn't make you look better. It doesn't make you more attractive. Leave it alone. Number 4, talking to their friends and family. People do this all the time. Oh, the dad loves me. Oh, I told the dad she's seeing someone new. Don't do that. It's going to push them away. Even if you have good intentions, even if the family and friends like you, because really, it's cheap. They broke up with you. Now you're going around things to have someone of their friend or family talk them out of it. If they're an adult, if they have any kind of dignity, they're going to lose respect for you. It's going to be annoying. And if their family or friends on your side, it actually would work against you if they're dug in, because now they have to dig in more with family and friends why they broke up with you. And here's the other thing, what you don't realize. Family and friends, especially like parents, they don't know all about your relationship. They don't know the ins and outs, and they don't know why that person really did break up with you, right? So you can sit here and be like, oh, they like me and all that. You're opening up a can of worms there, and it's just not fair. So don't go to friends and family, no matter what your intentions are, no matter what your idea. It's desperate. And even if the friend or family member likes you, right, it puts them in an awkward situation, right? Air it out to your friends and family. Book a live coaching with myself at writemac.com. We'll unpack it. We'll talk for 2-3 hours. I do it all the time. Don't go to their friends. Don't go to their family members. Don't go to their work. 5, sniper shots on social media, right? You make a little passive aggressive comment about a picture they took with someone new or on a trip. Anything that's slightly negative or guilt ridden, I call them guilt nets, where you think like, and this is manipulation at its highest level, making a comment that makes them feel bad about breaking up with you. And you think, well, I'm just here alone in the rain right now listening to sad songs. And you throw that on a post underneath a picture where they're having a good time at Disneyland. What are you doing that for? To get their attention, to make them feel sorry for you? Or another sniper shot would be like, oh, you look so happy right now, but when you were with me, you were miserable. What are you trying to accomplish here? Just stay the hell off social media, okay? Post-breakup. Number 6, trying to change their mind. Again, this goes back to trying, okay? Trying works for a few different things. People that have the most trouble with this, a lot of times are people that are in solution-based work, like programmers, where they can find a solution. People that work well with computers and whatnot, they can always find the solution to what they're looking for with trial and error. And so they try to apply this to the breakup and getting their ex back, and it's not the same thing. When someone's unattracted to you, scarcity is attractive. You accepting the breakup and saying, I'm okay to walk away, is the most attractive thing you can do. This is why a majority of the time when people come to me and they're like, oh, fighting for the relationship. Yeah, it sounds good, but it's not a movie. It's not Hollywood. It's not going to work out that way a lot of times. You're better off giving them space and giving yourself space to regenerate that gusto, to regenerate you feeling good about yourself on a confident level as an individual when they first met you. Number 7, repeated sorries. You only say sorry once. If you say sorry repeatedly, it's a little bit pathetic. It's not attractive. It's guilt-ridden. It's pity-seeking. I've talked about this many times. 8, repeated promises. Okay? So you promise that you're going to do something and you don't deliver. So that's probably one of the reasons they broke up with you. And then when you are broken up, you still make all these promises. Whether the promises are true or not, they have already decided through the breakup process that they're done. Okay? And so once they decide that, it's really hard for you to be like, oh, I'm going to do this promise. Because whatever you're promising is probably going to take time for them to believe as a reality. Okay? All right. What's up, Brand New Skinner? How you doing, bud? Rob IS, May, just really quick, if you email me sometimes. I have a client that wants to move. I believe you're in Mexico City. He wants to move to Mexico City. If you wouldn't mind, I would like to connect you with him if he has some questions. He is Mexican descent, living in America in California, but he wants to move back there. So if you don't mind, drop me an email sometimes. I would like to connect you to, if you don't mind. I said that twice. Most guys have no idea how to act attractive in the aftermath of a breakup. Most make themselves look weak, desperate, and lame. It's odd how most guys first approach unless they are trained. Honestly, I get it. Your feelings are involved. It's not as easy as I'm describing. Oh, yeah, just do this. Everyone's feelings are not involved. It's different. That being said, that's when you book a session with myself or a therapist or someone else out there, and you get professional, tailored advice to your situation. It's never going to be with Chat GP and all the stuff coming with AI and stuff. Getting real human advice is going to be a premium. It's going to be a premium, folks, because you're going to have robot type advice, and I don't know if they are that advanced to get the nuances of your situation, right? And you need to be heard, right? All right, we got a few on deck. If anyone wants to put a question about their relationship, situationship, someone they're dating, put it in the comments, and I'll get to it in a moment. I'm going to review 2 stories I have deck. One's a situationship. What a situationship is, you're in a relationship or you're in a dating situation. It's not a breakup. And this is a really good time to let me know what's going on and get my advice, because breakup's ground zero, where a situationship is a crossroad, right? And I never tell people exactly what to do unless it's point blank. Like, for example, I think it was yesterday or the day before, someone had written in a story where they were going to someone's workplace after the break, and I was just like, that's what it was. He's like, and I called her work post breakup looking for her. Never do that. That's embarrassing. It's uncomfortable. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do it. That's one I would just say, don't do it. It's just a minefield. And you're bringing in work. Now you've got people at their workplace. It's like, oh yeah, Holly's boyfriend called yesterday. What's going on with that? Now everyone's talking about it. Someone's going to ask him. You just made it well, I didn't know where you were. Like I said, unless they're missing for 10 days and no one in the family knows where they're at, okay, call the work. I don't know. But like, you're looking for them and they've been dodging you, don't call their work. All right. So May knows a lot about Mexico. I hope so. She lives there, right? All right. So, hey, coach, I've been trying to get my ex back for 2 months now. We text daily. We go out once or twice a week, but we haven't hooked up during that time. We agreed that we aren't together, but she knows I want to get back with her. All right. You're in a bad situation. You put yourself in that situation. You start off with what I just said earlier in this segment. I've been trying. Okay. Were you trying when you first dated, or were you just dating as a discovery mission, which is the best mindset you can have? Discovery mission means go on one good date with good intentions, positive vibes, to see what happens. Maybe, and discovery means I don't know what's going to happen. And then go on another date if it went well. That's it. Now you're in a situation where I'm trying. That means that their mind's been made up. We text daily. We go out once or twice a week, but we haven't hooked up during that time. And that's a big one. If you're not hooking up 2 months out of the breakup, but you're going out together, what are you doing? You're friends. You're weaning them off the relationship. You're a safety net. You're a spare tire. You're a backup quarterback. Okay. Well, it's a great position for the other person to be in, because they're like, I'm single. I can see other people. And then if some of the people I see I don't like, I still got you. But your value's way lower because you're allowing someone to shop around for a better product. Think about that for a minute. And when you got hypergamy in place, if a woman meets someone that's equal or higher value to her in her eyes, you're dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And you're like, wow, we've been going out. But if you really are honest with yourself, for those 2 months, it hasn't been the same. It hasn't even been close. If you're going to go out for 2 months post breakup with your ex and you guys are both officially not together and you guys haven't got back together within those 2 months, or at least had positive vibes after some intimacy, I think it's curtains. We agreed that we aren't together, but she knows I want to get back with her. She claims that she needs more time, but 2 days ago, her best friend, who is close with my cousin, told her that she's been dating a guy online in another state. Oh my goodness. This is why any of you out there, when you tell a friend of a friend, it always gets back to the person. They haven't met yet, but she believes he's the one. Okay, so this, just keep in mind, this is second or third hand information. This is not a primary source, so don't get your balls in a ringer, okay? My cousin told me not to say anything. Of course, you're not going to say anything, right? But she just doesn't want me to get hurt. Good intentions on your cousin's part. And I would say that this is your crossroad right now to go, do I really want to compete? Do I want to get in a match with an online dating guy? And I would say, no. You've been 2 months out. You're better off going out on your own, betting on yourself as an individual. I told her thanks for the info, but I was okay with it all. But really inside, I'm fuming right now. Of course you are. I feel lied and betrayed. I haven't confronted my girl yet, but I'm not sure how to go about it. We aren't together, but it feels like we are. Read that again. You wrote this story, and this is why it's great to write out your story. We aren't together, but it feels like we are. That's your perception, not hers. That's wishful thinking. Because if you ask me, if you're dating, you're not hooking up, you're only meeting up twice a week, you're texting each day, but you've agreed it's not official, you're not together. Accept reality, okay? And you're taking 2 steps back, my friend. Even if we hooked up a few times this month. So you have hooked up a few times this month? Okay, so obviously it wasn't good. I'll admit it wasn't great and even awkward, as she now lives with her sister. All right, if you hooked up a couple times in this month, and again, hooking up could be kissing for some people, not necessarily going full on, right? So if you hooked up and it was awkward and wasn't great, it's not going to get better probably. You probably are better off getting some distance between the two of you. She sounds like she's sick of you. Even awkward that she now lives with her sister, so we had to get a hotel because she didn't want her sister to see us together. Big red flag. That tells me that she doesn't have plans to get back with you, because if she had plans to get back with you, she's living with her sister, but she's got her own room. She's living with her sister, but she doesn't want her sister to see you. She doesn't want to work on that or overcome that. When a woman really likes you, it's like, yeah, my sister doesn't like you. Ha, ha, ha. They're not going to be overcome by that. They're not going to let that affect the relationship. Because her sister hates me, supposedly. So you don't even believe that's true. It just felt off. Then she didn't even want to sleep over at the hotel. It was a one and done. And she smiled when she left, saying, I needed that. Thank you. Oh, that's cold, man. So she's basically saying, I just got off. I just got what I wanted. I got my fix, but this isn't love, sweetheart. That's what she's saying. That's cold, man. Totally caught me off guard, as I thought, what does that mean? It means that it's transactional. It means that she doesn't want to hang out with you afterwards. This was my girl that used to say she loved me. Now, thank you. Okay, this is why it's great to write this stuff out, because if you read this as a stranger, you'd be like, what's this dude doing? I confronted her on it through text. She said we aren't together anymore, and she doesn't want to get into that. She's controlling the situation. You're trying. And like I said, sounds like you're a backup quarterback. Sounds like she wants to be single. It sounds like you're weaning her off the relationship. It sounds like she's cat pawing the hell out of you. And this is the thing, right? She'll still sleep with you, you know, if she's feeling it, but it's not going to be something where she's going to lay down there with you and get back with you. Today, I'm thinking about going no contact. Don't think about it. Do it. What's the alternative to do this? So today I'm thinking about going to, but I first want to write her a letter. Don't write the letter. Good thing you contacted me. Letting her know how she hurt me. Letting her know how she hurt you. She might feel pity. She might feel sorry for you. She won't be attracted or want to get back with you. Okay? Don't do that. With seeing this new guy, letting her know how she hurt me with seeing this new guy, and that I couldn't accept that. But a part of me says we are kind of dating now. Okay, so whenever someone says we are kind of dating, who's the person that thinks you're dating? So I've heard people say, oh, we're kind of dating. What does that even mean? You're either dating or you're not dating. If I was to clarify it, we're seeing each other, we're friends with benefits. Because some people think of dating as being like we're boyfriend, girlfriend, right? So you need to clarify that for yourself. If you say you're kind of dating, right? To me, what it sounds like here is you're seeing each other. You're friends with benefits, okay? You're not together though. And anytime you have to say kind of, it means you wish it was more, but she doesn't believe it's more. Is she telling her, let's be honest with yourself, okay? If she was asked by friends or family, hey, are you and Todd back together? She'd say, nah, but we go out sometimes. Would she say we're kind of dating? I don't think she would, based on what you just told me. So you're reaching, okay? Whenever a guy says that too, it's like, kinda? Why would you say kind of? There's no half-ass dating, right? You're seeing each other sometimes, or sometimes you guys go out. But part of me says we are kind of dating now, so maybe I'll be okay with playing the long game here. Plus, she hasn't hooked up with this other guy, this other online guy yet. Here's the thing that you're missing, okay, bud? I'm glad you wrote this in. I'm going to be a little bit harsh here. The cousins told you about this one guy that's online that could be the one. She could be talking to other guys online. If she's talking to one, she could be talking to numerous ones, especially online. I don't want to scare you, but if you think, oh, I'm going to play the long game here, bad approach. Bad approach, because I'll tell you what. She's got 2 fishing poles in the water, and she's got you in the bucket, and you aren't the fish of the day. You're in the live well, and she might throw you back if she gets a better fish. Look at it that way, dude, okay? And you're like, well, I could play the long game. You could, right? So you're basically saying if everything doesn't work out with those other guys, maybe she'll come back to me. Really? Even if you get back with her, even if she comes in the middle of the night on a rainy night, knocking at your door, please let me in. I'm so sorry. I miss you. I want to get back with you. You still got to deal with the fact that she's been dating other guys, because if she's dating one guy online, she's probably dating a few. I've looked him up, and I don't see him being better than me. That's perspective. That's biased. And it doesn't matter if he's better than you or not. She's talking to another guy. I thought about messaging him too. Never message the other guy. Guys do this all the time. It's not a good look. The guy's going to back channel it to the girl. You're going to look pathetic, weak, and it's highly unattractive. Okay? But haven't yet. Don't do that. What's my next move? You're the expert breakup coach. Help me, please. I don't know if that's sarcastic or not, but I am pretty good at what I do. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Go no contact. Okay? Because this idea that you're kind of dating, you're not really dating. You're not really, you're seeing each other. You're holding a place. The idea that you guys have hooked up and it's been awkward, not good, but you kind of, you guys go out, you see each other. You're in a bad position right now. Okay? You're in a position where she's got all the plays to be made, and you're going to be left holding the bag. You're going to get hurt here. Now, if you go and confront her about this online guy in the name of justice and betrayal and deceit, that's totally fine. That's not going to end with her wanting you back. That's not going to end her, oh my God, this is where, now that you confronted me about this other guy. No, it's going to make her more defensive. It's going to make her dig in on her situation even more and defend her that she's currently not with you. And that's going to be actually more hurtful. The idea of writing a letter, that's for you. Write a letter, don't send it. Book a live coaching session, go to writemac.com. We'll fully unpack this and get a little deeper. Okay? because all the moves that you're saying you're going to do are going to make it worse. Okay. And I understand you're like, oh, I'm going to try. We'll get back together. Everything that you've said, even though you guys talk and text daily and you've gone out a few times, tells me that she's in control of the situation. She doesn't have any kind of wanting to get back together. If you told me, oh, when we hook up, it's outstanding. Oh, it's never been better. Because sometimes post breakup, you miss each other so much that the intimacy is better. And you're like, I've had that before where I'm like, oh my God, you're in that gray area after the breakup. You're seeing each other again and you have good sex. If you're like, oh, it's awkward, you're trying all these other things. Oh, after the last time we hooked up, she just told me thank you and left and smiled. Things are changing, things are shifting, and you're not accepting it. And like I said, she'll keep you around for validation. She'll keep you around as someone that, these other guys she's seeing aren't available, right? At some point, you got to check your balls and your dignity, and you got to go no contact. And really, what you've been doing for 2 months hasn't been working, right? So if you think that no contact's going to work to get her back here, that's not the right way to look at it. The right way to look at it is, I got to do this for me. I got to start moving forward, right? I'm thinking about looking this guy up online. Come on, man. Really? When you get to that point as a guy, you got to check yourself from it. Really, do I want to go this route? I've had clients that do it. I had a guy that was a combat decorated Marine, right? That was in Iraq years back. Cool dude. He's a teacher. I mean, this guy was into jiu-jitsu. This guy was no slouch with women or anything. But everyone meets their match and everyone gets humbled on a relationship or two. Even the best of guys, even the guys that get the most women and, whatever, the naturals. But he was hung up on this chick and she played him. She played him, right? He found out she was seeing someone else. He contacted the ex-boyfriend. He's like, I know, bro. I know. I was on a live stream. I think he said it in the call. He goes, I know. He's like, it was so weak. He's like, I had to call the guy and be like, what's with this girl? And of course, that guy called the girl and was like, yeah, your current boyfriend called me, but I kind of you're not going to get what you want from that guy. It's going to just make it worse. You're better airing it out with a coach or therapist or your best friend. Contacting the guy that used to sleep with her before you did? Come on, man. That's just... And then later on, like I said, when he's telling me, he's like, oh, man, I know. Right? I've had multiple guys tell me this because now with social media, you can find out people's contact information quite easily, right? All right, I got one more story on deck. We have 7 likes. Feel free to throw a super chat. If you don't want to do that, that's just fine. May just mentions, not really that I know. Maybe number 4. Let me just double check what you're asking. Talking to her friends and family. Just to elaborate on that, when I'm saying what pushes your ex away, it doesn't necessarily, let me clarify that. Talking to their friends and family with the intention of getting them on your side and telling them how, you should get back together. Okay, so I'll give you an example of this. This was a good friend of mine that I went to high school with, and he had high school sweetheart. They had a kid at 19, 20. They had been together for 4 years. They were going to get married, right? She breaks up after they're engaged. They got a kid together, right? And he was in knots, right? Of course. But he went over there. He went over to the parents' house, who he was cool with, and he was like, dude, I talked to the parents yesterday. Like, she can't be doing this, and he knew the parents by name. He even lived at the house before and all this stuff. And he thought it was just this great move. And it pushed her away. She was pissed. And the parents backed him up and were like, yeah, you're right. It pushed her away even further. I think it was actually, there might have been a chance for them to get together, but by him doing that, it made her feel like the fact that her parents were on his side and she was in this stage in her early 20s where she wanted to let her hair out and be independent and have fun, she's not going to listen to her parents in that situation. Come on, man. That's what I meant by that. If you have mutual friends and you want to talk to them, don't bring up the relationship and put them in that bad situation, because then they got to take sides. It's hard, right? Unless it's your friend. Okay, so let me just check in on the live stream real quick here. To know better with things like we discuss on the stream. May knows a lot about Mexico. Thank you. Got that. A crossroad, in my opinion, is easier to deal with when getting in the upper hand of what's going on in that moment. There are plenty of ways, actions to make oneself more attractive again. Most guys fail at this moment unless trained or have done reading and research. Hey, Mac, on the social media aspect, I have posted stuff showing I'm doing good. Later on, feel like maybe I shouldn't, because one, did I do this subconsciously to get her attention? And two, this kind of post would be normal. I feel I shouldn't even be on here because it causes this thought. Be on the live stream or be on social media? Real quick, BW. If you naturally post a lot on social media anyways, fine. If you feel like you're doing this to get their attention, it can work. It can work, especially with women that have a big ego, that are competitive. And if it looks like you're with someone that's better than them, for women, it might get their attention. And here's the thing, for certain women, it could push them away. Women that are a little less confident or submissive or sensitive, that can push them away. Like, oh, I guess you're really happy now. Like one guy that I know that did this, and he staged it, and I knew the type of girlfriend he had, it completely pushed her away because she doesn't want to compete, and she thought she was less anyways. So she was like, oh, I'm just happy for you. It only works for a certain kind of person that's more competitive with that stuff. Because for them to act on that, they have to be a little bit aggressive. Now, saying that, will it catch their eye or catch their heartstrings? Yeah. Will they act on it? That's a different thing. That becomes a personality thing, right? So if you're naturally posting cool stuff that you're actually doing, cool. If you feel like, oh, I hope they see this as a afterthought, okay. But if you're attached to that afterwards, for example, you know, maybe the first hour you posted that you're at Disneyland with some chick and you keep checking to see who checked it, that's when you know you have a problem. Because that's when you know subconsciously you actually did do it to get that other girl's attention, maybe Kim, right? So you can check that after you've done a post, how many times you're checking back. That being said, just don't stage stuff. If you stage stuff, again, it could work. But if they know you and they're like, oh, I know this is staged, like you're doing things out of character and you get caught, it's pretty uncomfortable after that, right? To me, if you disappear off social media, if you're not there, to me, and they're used to being able to get snippets of you, I think that's more powerful, to be honest. Have I done studies on that, or is there any guarantees? No. But yeah, scarcity is attractive. Then they're like, oh my God, you know, Ben's off Facebook. What happened? Where is he? What is he up to? There's way more thinking about that, where if you post a picture, you know, you on your Harley and you're going on a road trip and there's girls around you, she could get jealous. She could be affected by that. Or she could be like, oh, she's so ugly. Wow, he really downgraded. Or, you know, there's other things that can be thought of where the imagination is a little bit more open when there's no contact at all. It helps wean them off. There was a guy that introduced me to that phrase a long time ago. I forgot his name. He used to come on the show. He actually moved to Bali. It was a suggestion that I had made. I was like, move. But it's so true, getting weaned off the relationship. And actually, they're weaning themselves off the relationship, not just you. Sure, Mac, I will email you, no problem. Yeah, it would just be an introduction to this other guy. I'm here. What's up, Petty Betty? Ja. I can't even imagine that situation. The breakup after the argument, Petty Betty. Oh, just relationship stuff. Okay. Oh gosh, I did the number 4 when I was teenager. Face turquoise covering eyes. I just remember face turquoise covering eyes. What do you mean? Turquoise eyes? Wow. I just remember, but he was not pushed away at all. Face fuchsia poop shape. Elaborate. I like the color of the shirt, Mac. Thank you, Petty Betty, for your kind compliments. I do appreciate them. Giving people nice, genuine, little compliments go a long way. I'm a person that does that regularly myself. I'll tell the person serving my coffee, wow, today I was like, where'd you got all this new furniture? I asked him all these questions about it. He's all excited. It's little hole in the wall coffee shop. Show people you're interested. Make that a practice in your life. Ask questions. Give them compliments. Happiest place on earth. Turquoise eyes might be a sign of a deficiency in certain vitamins. Oh my goodness. Well, anyone that goes out of their way to declare something that I didn't ask, I didn't say you were flirting with me. Don't be so defensive, Mary. I didn't steal the cookies from the cookie jar. Yellow eyes, I could see that. I had an Irish grandfather that had like swimming pool, like the color of this shirt. I don't think that would be turquoise. It would be more green. All right, one more situationship on deck. Anyone that's on right now that has a question, don't be intimidated by the regulars on the live stream. Please chime in if you'd like to. Or if you have a situation yourself. Let's do it. Next story. Done. Hello, Coach Mac. I want to say thank you for your work. First and foremost, well, thank you for saying thank you. I got this situationship where I can't stop pursuing my ex, and I know she's done with me. Okay, so right there, I know she's done with me. I can't stop pursuing. What you resist, persist. Accept that she's done with you first. She's seeing multiple guys. Okay. Is that something you would accept if you were in the relationship with her? She's been open about it, and she said there's a chance we can get back together, but for now, she just wants to play the field. Yes, she actually said that. Okay, so you actually wrote that anonymously. Big turnoff, and one of the guys she hooked up with is a good friend of mine or was a good friend of mine. So this is a really good way to put it in perspective for you. Okay, let's say you get back together. Let's say you fight for the relationship and you win. Out of all the guys she's banging right now and going out with, she decides, after trying a few other chocolates, you're the best chocolate in town, right? And you're like, cool, I won. We're back together. You tell all your friends. You're like, oh my goodness. A year goes by, and guess what? She does something wrong. She gets a text, and what you're going to do is like, remember when she was seeing all those guys? It's going to bother you. So even if you got back together, you're going to be insecure. You're going to still be upset that she saw this many guys while you didn't see any other women. That's not fair. And these dudes, the first 6 months to a year, guaranteed, unless she blocks them all, which I don't think she will, because, it's nice to have these guys on the back burner. So even if you get back with a woman like this, and I'm not saying she's bad, because I'll tell you what, I give her credit. She's telling you the fucking truth. I'm seeing other guys. I'm playing the field. But if you'd like to be in the fray, sure, why not? Jump in. I can fit you in on Saturday night. And right now, you're in second place. Great. How's that feel? Think about that for a moment, right? Even if you win, like I said, a lot of guys that are competitive, high achievers, they're like, count me in. I'm gonna come out on top on this. Go for it. Fine. Maybe you do win, but when you do win and you get back together, like I said, there's going to be a time down the road, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year in the thing. And you're going to go, you did hook up with my friend. How did that end up? That's going to waver on you. It's going to bug you, because even though you weren't together these 3-4 months, you still think of it as my girlfriend. And if you get back together and you didn't hook up with anyone, it's going to bother you. So what are you chasing here? Because like I said, if you get back together, you'll probably break up again over that. And especially if it was a friend. So, but it was a turnoff. One of the guys she hooked up with was a good friend of mine, or was a good friend of mine, saying that you're not friends anymore. Okay. And that friend bragged to another friend how great she was in bed. All right. Well, sounds like, someone might say, oh, shitty friend. Oh, that's messed up. If she was single, I wouldn't do that to a friend. Okay. I don't know what the circumstances were. I'm sure when he bragged to your other friend, he didn't know it was going to get back to you. That being said, what happened is actually what happens when your girl becomes single, right? And you might say, oh, how could you do it with my friend? A lot of people, when they hook up, there's a sphere of influence, there's an immediate group. This is one more reason that you should probably just go no contact. Okay. And like you said, it was a good friend of mine. Like, you're not, okay. You're probably going to cut off that friend. Why not cut off her? Right. I don't think you're going to forgive her. Right now, you're caught in this competitive race to get her back. But you're not going to let it go. Don't you think? It's crazy. Why am I pursuing her still? Good question. Ask yourself that. First thing that comes to mind is probably the answer. I've even gave her tips on how to deal with the other guys. That's pathetic. I know it's cringe to write this. I'm obsessed by what I can't have. Well, there's your reason. Okay. A lot of people are obsessed by what they can't have. So that just tells, and the crazy things, I've never been this way before. And I've actually always been the one to break hearts and see multiple women while keeping my exes on a string. Well, karma's a bitch. If you don't believe in karma, I do believe this. So someone's like, oh, I don't believe in karma because there's bad people that are rich. There's bad people that keep getting what they want. All right. How about this? Everyone gets humbled. Everyone gets humbled in life. And if you haven't been humbled yet, you haven't lived long enough. Okay. So you're getting humbled right now. You're like, oh, I'm the one. So this is why you're probably obsessed, because the tables got turned. You're not used to being in this role. And you're like, me? I'm chasing? I never get turned down. And this is why it's great to write it out. How did I get myself in this situation? Well, you got yourself in this situation because you're not used to it. You just said, usually I'm the one that breaks hearts. You got your heart broken. So now you're reacting to something that you're not used to, and you're not accepting the fact she's seeing other guys, let alone your friend, and you're treating it as something of a competition. What's the play here? Do women like this ever come back? Oh yeah, she could come back. She could, right? She could come back. But what I just said, does that make sense? Even if she came back, are you going to be like, oh yeah, it's cool that you banged out 3 or 4 guys in lieu of the time that we haven't been together, and one of them was my friend? Are you going to be like, are you just going to let that go? I've had plenty of clients that are like, I just couldn't let that go. Second part of that is, she doesn't have a lot of value for you right now. So what are you going to do to prove her back? Because like I said earlier, in this trying or putting more pursuit into it, she's actually losing respect for you, right? So if I were you, the only play here to me is no contact, radio silence, cut her off on everything, block her on everything, and say, you know what, hun, good luck. I hope things work out. I hope you enjoy being single. And I'm going to bet on myself that I can find someone equal or higher value. Even if I got to lick my wounds for a little while, even if I got to cry in the shower, or if I got to book a session with writemac.com with this crazy coach on YouTube who's doing this shit for 5 years and unfold the whole situation, right? Even if I have to do that, I'm not going to be this guy I'm obsessed. I don't know what to do, right? You can get out of this, man. You got the key to the jail cell in your pocket. What you got to do is take some steps back. Remove yourself from the situation. Reread that story. Reread what I just told you. Okay, that's a start. But the minute you engage with her, you're in her web. And you're playing right into it. And it's manipulation 101. She loves to have you on the line right now. Why not? And the crazy thing is, if you go straight no contact and you've been there from the get-go, there's going to be a void for her, and she's got to make a decision. Wait a minute. I get none of him? Wow, he's really moving on? Now, if that doesn't flip the tables are never going to be flipped. But to me, if someone's seeing someone else, hey, man, come on. Really? You wouldn't want to put yourself in a situation where she's taking turns with different guys? On this day of the week, I'm going out with so-and-so this way. It's like, all right. If you guys are just dating, fine. If you were together, all right, let me check we got 12 on deck. Anyone that wants to hop on, I do have time today. Ooh, actually, I have about 20 minutes. I almost forgot about an appointment. I had an hour. If you got a question about your situationship, your breakup, limited belief, or any question, throw it in the chat. If someone wants to come on and get live today and put themselves on the spot, audio only or video, I can send you a link and we can get into it. It was funny because not last live stream, but I think 2 live streams before, a guy came on that was had some anxiety issues and some different things. He's like, no, I'm going to book a session. I'm going to book a session after I do this thing. He never booked a session, Johnny boy. Never booked a session. It's kind of funny. I promise. Okay, I believe you. Bragged how great he was in bed. All right, hold on. She's seeing multiple guys. Does that mean she's having a midnight sessions with these men? I don't know. It's just what the story read. She's a playa, don't hate. It just doesn't translate as well for women, Mary. A playas. If a girl is dating multiple guys, we need to know if she's hooking up with them. There are plenty of diseases out there. It needs to be declared. Drop the link back. I'll talk about communication difficulties. Those are big words for you. Communication difficulties. Can you elaborate? When people do the big word talk, just what would be, can we break that down from communication difficulties? Bragged how great she was in bed. Man, that's hurtful. It's one thing when your friend hooked up with your girl, but it's another thing that bragged to a friend. I want to know if he was using a Trojan. Okay, that's even more dangerous outside of her mattress skills. You want to know personal details. Her pursuing her still because he wants what he can't have. Very common for men that are high achievers and get what they want. There's a lot of people out there that usually, I never quit. I always get what I want. Rejection breeds obsession. Absolutely. What do men brag about most? The girl's looks or how sexy she is, right? I think it's different for different guys. I think for some guys, when they're young in their 20s, it's just the fact like, yeah, I hooked up with her. They won't go. A lot of guys won't go into as much details, and they won't say it was bad. They'll just say, yeah, we hooked up, right? They won't give the details. They'll just say that they hooked up. I don't want personal details. I want to know if he used that recycled plastic so a person doesn't get his diseases via. Okay. Ben W. Does that mean when a man gets a date denied, he'll keep on trying or get another date? I think when it's just one date, you'd hope that there's not as much of attachment. I think when someone gets rejected by someone they've been with a long time, the attachment to the relationship and the entangled feelings, and then the thought of, I thought we were good together. I thought we had something going. So then you were misled. Most guys I find do not have the strength to bet on themselves. Most try to play it safe. Mac is not crazy. He's cool. Well, thanks for that, hon. Well, if someone declined you on a first date, my mind is, who cares? Don't know them. But if you've seen them for a bit and they got to know you and then goes away, there's the thought of, was I not good? Absolutely. You love Mex. I was thinking about you today. How have you been? And that's not a joke, actually. Wow. Good to hear from you. Quick question. You don't have to share it on the thing. Are you still single? I haven't heard from you in a long time. Sometimes, doing this for a while and having some of my regular clients, people that they don't see me every week, but it's like once every year or 2 years when something goes down, they email me like, hey, Mac, how are you doing? And something about a relationship or something like that, especially people I've known for years. And I'll have a new client and I'll think, God, I wish, like if I was a matchmaker, I would introduce you to this guy who's broken up. That you guys would just be a good match, but you're in different states. So that's kind of the hard part. And I'm not a matchmaker, so it would be an odd thing because I'm going to be biased. But I do that sometimes. I'm like, and that's why I was thinking about you, because I was like, matchmaking service. I've had people ask me that before too. All right, enough. And that becomes an obsessive thought. Just to get back to BW, yeah, I think a lot of people think I was not good enough. Probably if they're rejected. And it depends on the rejection. There was a client a while back. He wouldn't mind me mentioning this because I don't say names, right? And he was basically the relationship way she broke up with him was the intimacy wasn't good. And he didn't think it was bad. And she said, I just think about my ex in that way. And I miss, right? And that's harsh. That's tough. Now he's got a complex in his head that he's not good in the intimate department, right? But she was just being honest with him. So sometimes when someone points out something directly, and that's why sometimes when people break up and they're vague, I think they're trying to protect you from hurting you sometimes, so, it's never easy when someone doesn't want to be with you. But one thing you can do, Ben, is you can look at the times when you had to let someone go. If you've been around long enough, you've had to be the other person sometimes. And then you can get perspective. Well, at least they told me the truth. But a lot of times, if you break it down, it's timing and circumstances. A lot of times. They're not ready for that relationship. Something about you triggered them. There's all kinds of things. Got to learn to understand you did your best. Hell of a thing when you feel rejected. Yeah. But you know what? It is a good statement to have in your back pocket. It's a statement I never used in my life. But like coming back to like, I did the best I could. I told the truth. I did things right. You can hold your head up high. It's like if you leave your relationship and you did a bunch of things wrong, what people get caught up now with red pill and all these things online about how to talk to a woman, the masculine and feminine, they think a line, like a clever line, messed them up. You can learn, like these dating gurus, like how to line up a good line or how to talk to someone. That works for certain people that are already good at that stuff. But if you're not naturally inclined, you're better off being yourself. If you're a computer nerd, be a computer nerd. There's women out there that like that. Be authentic. Play it. Got to learn to understand you did your best. Absolutely. And you can keep saying, I did my best. That could happen. So you are single? You love Max? Man. I can give you guys each emails. Same age range, both really good people. But like I said, if you're open to it, I'll ask him you love Max. I'll ask him if you're open to it. Okay. If you tell me that, I'll introduce you guys through email. He's been single a while. I'll talk to him first. No mommy issues. No. There's some people, you know, when I talk to them during a breakup, they're there's some people that need to work on themselves or work on their finances or work on their bodies or work on their confidence, which is part of finances in your body now and Western culture, right? Let's just be honest. It's whether that's fair or not the right thing to say. It's a big part, right? But there's some people I'm like, man, you got everything lined up. You're in good shape to meet someone else. I don't need to tell you to like, hey man, you need to start hitting the gym. Because like some people, it's just like, this may sound obvious, okay? But like when someone tells me they get anxiety a lot or they're really depressed, and it's different for different people, but especially anxiety, because that's very common. Like people in society right now, a lot of that's associated with using the internet and social media. And let's just face it, let's be honest right now, everyone's addicted to their phone. 99, you know, hopefully I'm lucky because being 42, like I didn't grow up with the phone attached to my hand. So I think it's like an hour, probably a day or 2 hours. I don't need the phone, and I live by the beach. I go hiking. I do a lot of outdoor things. I was brought up that way, luckily. But most people aren't. So this is creating a lot of anxiety, a lot of quick things. But like if you tell me you got anxiety issues or you got depression issues or you're sad, and I ask you what would be the first question I'd ask? What would be the first question to ask? What would be the first question to ask? Someone's like, oh my God, my anxiety's so bad. I didn't even know what anxiety really was till I was like 28. Someone told me, oh, my life wasn't perfect, but I would never say, oh, I have anxiety. What do you think the first question you'd ask? Rob, you know. First question I'd ask. And it's a simple question, and it's usually no. And yes, thank you, May. Ding, 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 ding. $10,000 for May. Head of the class. Exactly. Doesn't mean you need to be a triathlete. Doesn't mean you need to lift 10,000 pounds. It doesn't mean you need to be, so fucking impressive. It's just like that. Anxiety, your mood starts with some sort of exercise. Preferably getting outside, getting some sun. Preferably if you can walk barefoot on nature. That's called being grounded. Those are some things. They help. That's a start. If you're like, oh, I don't exercise, then a lot of times you take pharmaceuticals that help you with the depression. Okay. What happens with the pharmaceuticals, I'm not a doctor. I'll do all that disclosure, whatever. It seems to me, and when I say it seems to me, I'm not saying this is factual. It seems to me the person that get on, and some people they work and some people need these pharmaceuticals because, their depression or their sadness or their anxiety is so bad. Okay. Right. I'm not saying you can't take them. Seems to me though, when they lean on them for 6 months or a year, or they go to the doctor or a psychiatrist and that's what they're given the first or second time. I've witnessed this as a teacher. Okay. I've witnessed this as a teacher. Teaching at the university level, 20, 21, 22. Just in I haven't taught the last 2 years. But I mean, I was getting 35 students a class, 6 classes. I mean, up to 200 students a term. I could come across a lot of people. Okay. That's my training. I don't have a PhD in psychology, but I've worked with a lot of people. Okay. And the kids would come into class, and this is what you don't realize as a teacher. You see everyone. You see the whole room. You're the teacher. You're in front of the class, right? This is going to change. You see everyone's faces, their reactions. You're taking that all in. I'm very observant also. So you're doing that, right? And all of a sudden you notice there's a kid in the class and they're like this. And I'm like, Kim, what's wrong? Are you okay? It's not even like they're tired. It's like they're zoned. I'm all right. I'm kind of tired today. It's like, then after class, I'd be like, I was that kind of teacher, like, hey, I want to talk to you really quick after class. Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Because it wasn't like you're just tired. Kids that are tired, they sleep. I usually know they got a part-time job when they're in uni or something like that. And they'd be like, oh, well, I had depression. I went to the doctor. I'm taking pills now, but I feel better. But it's like they got rid of that depression, anxiety extreme, but they also can't experience the highs of being happier. So I feel, and this is just my private opinion, okay? For anyone that's a doctor on this, it's like, oh, you're not a doctor and I take these things. Don't take that as offense. This is just me observing, okay? You can't get, when you aren't taking those things and you're exercising, dude, I have sad days. I have days where I'm like, what are you going to do, coach? Looking in the mirror. Like, I have stuff happen in my life. I'm not one of those people online that portrays myself as some perfect person. That's why I do live streams like this, because it's the most authentic thing you can do. And I'm going to tell you something right now, guys and gals. With this chat GP and AI, it's going to be, because there's so many people in my space that read what they're doing. I never read anything. You can obviously tell because it's all over the place sometimes. But it's going to be like, how stock photos are, right? On websites, which is just cringe to me. It's like, if you have a relationship website, I already got to do the picture like this or whatever. That's not, but they do like a fake picture of a couple or something, stock photos, right? There's articles that are going to be written by robots that are going to be recycled 1,000 times over. There's going to be so many narcissism relationship articles that you're going to be influxed with that are written by non-people humans that aren't nuanced. We're coming to that point. But what you do with, getting back to my point about the people that are on those pills, and like I said, some people really need them because they're in a dark place. Okay. Is being able to experience some lows, also with the ability, whatever it goes down can go up. Whenever you go up a flight of stairs, you can go down a flight of stairs. When you get really angry, you have the ability to bring yourself back down, right? So your higher highs of happiness are being deflated, in my opinion, because you're just in a neutral, safe state that's conformed. That's my opinion on that. And when you do that, you don't get those exciting, good moods. And to me, those people, they're more frumpy. They're more like, yeah. Like those people, when I have them in class, before they did those things, yeah, they had more personality, more things. Now they're just like monotone. They're complaining. And so, I don't know. Like I said, and I know that some people are in positions where it's hard to get exercise, or it's hard. But that's why I tell people, just go for a walk, man. Go for a walk with your Walkman. If you live in a major city and you don't have access to a gym or something, like, go for a walk. This guy I know in the town over here, he's actually from Cali. He moved to Thailand. He walks every day, like 2 hours, has his headphones in. He drinks. He just told me this yesterday. He drinks every day. So functional, you know what. And he's got a job online and all this stuff, makes good money. But he's like, I walk 2 hours every day. And he just walks. He doesn't run. He doesn't jog. And I get it. Sometimes I get off exercise for a little bit, and I got it, and I'll catch myself in a more bad mood. You got to exercise, man. If you're not doing that, it's not the cure to everything. But if someone says no, I've talked about this before. Remember, I dated this woman. I'm like, you don't really exercise. She wasn't overweight or anything. And I'm like, when's the last time you? 5 years. We're not going to date again. It's like, That's a problem. And the funny thing is like I started seeing her. I didn't say that, but I'm like, 5 years? She said, oh, you just think dating, exercise. No, I don't think it's everything, but it's kind of like water, right? People have been going. Think about this. If you, maybe this is not a good analogy. If anyone's had a dog before as a pet, how bad do they want to get out and go for a walk? Every dog, except for when they get to about 15 or 16, wants to go for a walk. They're begging for it. And if you're not hypnotized by your phone or something, it's just important, man. It's just a tangent. Everyone's like, oh, that's obvious. Everyone needs exercise. Are you doing it? Funny story. Let me see. Hold on, folks. I'm going to push back my appointment because this is a good one. You Love Mex is on deck. It's been a while. I'm going to extend this live stream a little bit. I'll just push back my lunch appointment. Cool. Check the rain. All right. But this guy I ran into, I go to this HIIT class, and I've gone to it off and on. It's a group class. If you guys know what HIIT class is, it's stations with different kinds of weights and the rope. They set up the stations. It's 45 minutes to an hour with music, and then you change stations. What I like about it is high intensity, agility. It's all different things. So it just touches on different things. Great workout. And I like to be in a group. It pushes me better. If I'm by myself, I'll be like, I'll listen to music. I end up talking to someone. So this guy that was in the class, it's usually more women than men, which is good. He's got talking to me. I'm like, where do you work at? And he was like, oh, he does drug and alcohol counseling. I was like, oh, I'm a coach actually online, this and that. And he's like, oh yeah, relationship. I go primarily breakups, but I help people with other stuff. And he's like, I was just in a breakup 3 weeks ago. I get this all the time. And he starts telling me the story while we were leaving. We both had to go. And then I just said, well, let's get lunch. You can talk to me. And that's who I was supposed to meet. Run into this stuff all the time. It's crazy. I was like, we can talk about it. It's important to talk to someone outside your friend circle sometimes when you have a breakup. It's really important. BB, how you doing? How are things going? You haven't been on in a long time. I remember I had a client, his name was Blade. His real name was Blade. I was like, is that your nickname? He's like, no, I was named Blade. B's good. I just had lunch with him yesterday. He's doing really well. We've talked about setting up a better show or a daily. I think what I want to do to be more consistent and to make it work and to make it something I do for years is Tim Ferriss, who I highly respect. I think Rob, if you're still on deck, would know who Tim Ferriss is. I just really like his podcast and how he gives advice. And ironically, if you listen to him, he doesn't seem to. He always has questions about relationships. It's kind of funny. The tech guys, the guys that are into tech and these kinds of things, they usually have trouble with their relationships and dating. Like Lex Friedman, he's always like, how do I get better at dating? He always asks his guests. So, and And really, if you're famous, it's probably more difficult. I just heard Tim Ferriss talk about this. He's like, you have no idea what you have to deal with when you're famous, like your life. So where I'm going with this, we got 14 on deck. We got a good crowd. Got some regulars. I'd like to go for 1,000 true fans. So what does that mean? I'm like, what's on my finger here? Oh, it's just a glare from the light. 1,000 true fans that support me, $10 a month. If I get 1,000 true fans and do the live stream 4 times a week for 2 hours, that's my service. My goal would be to get 1,000 true fans. And those are my fans. Those are my people. Rather than trying to get 1 million subscribers or trying to get, because I'm very comfortable with my group. If I get $10, and everyone's like, well, that's $10,000. There's taxes, there's all kinds of things, right? Would that be reasonable to some of you out there? Or do you think like, nah, I'm not going to give you $10. One of the people that they primarily talk to me through IG, I think she's got an OnlyFans. I think that's what she does. And she's not when I say that, when you're on IG, there's so many shady texts you get, right? Like that are fake files or things like that. She's not that. I think she came to me years back for breakup advice online. And she's like, why don't you have a Patreon or something I can give you money every month for? And it's been in the thing. But if I could get some of these people that are regulars of the channel and $10 a month, and I can get 1,000 people, which isn't that many. What would you want from me for $10 a month? What would you want to get your money's worth? You're like, I give this guy from YouTube $10 a month. If I'm on live stream 4 times a week and I take live calls, is that enough? Because I want to stick with live streams. I know Petty will. I really do. But the current model, it doesn't get as many clients and whatnot. But if I can get that base where I know I have that, I'll commit to 4 or 5 times a week. Thanks, Ben W. I'll start you off. That's a good guy. You love Mex BW. Thanks, buddy. But I thought about that. I like that approach, and Tim Ferriss talks about that all the time, having 1,000 true fans rather than trying to be famous. Or I've had some other people in this space that go a certain direction, and the direction people are going, it's just, do you guys feel like YouTube's becoming more actors, more people acting a role out? It just feels like YouTube started out with amateur people, meaning that they, amateur can mean a lot of things, but they weren't actors, right? That was the whole thing. And now it's become, I feel like there's an element of, yeah, it's not the Channel 5 news, where it's like, hey, Dan Rather here, 5 o'clock news. Today, in San Francisco, California, we have a problem, right? That's so canned, right? That kind of news is still going, but it's waning out. Now we got guys that are doing the news and gossip and different things like that are, oh, I'm a YouTube person, I'm this, but they're really a character too, confided by trying to get views, playing a role. And it's like Andrew Tate, who blew up YouTube and was like, I remember just being like, what, like, where'd this guy come from? And then you research him, he was just everywhere. Like, he just blew up, right? And I know there's a story behind that and all that. And then there are people, he just polarized everything by his views and all this stuff. Then he goes to jail. And now he's in a recent interview, and it's like now he's changed his religion to being Muslim, which is totally fine. I live in a Muslim community. People are shocked by that. There's a mosque about 100 yards from my house. I love my community. Really do. But he was interviewed about this, and the way he was talking about the religion, it seemed like it was a move, not because of a deep religious move, just more of a practical thing to do. It was just and it felt like he's literally making a new headline, like a new extreme headline, right? It's like, where are we going with this, man? You know what I mean? Like, who's being themselves? I've been told to do TikTok. I think I fought it for a while. But thank you for the reassurance about that, because I just got to get B on deck or someone else on deck to cut up the live streams maybe and do that. But I think my guard's up just getting into more social media. I just got to get some people to cut up some of the views and stuff. But yeah, I've heard that the TikTok's the most popular thing to do. But I'd really like to do my live streams regularly. And like I said, if I got $10 a month from 1,000 people, I got 9,000 subscribers now. That could make things good, right? I agree, BW. I've been told for a while. No, I mean, I am. The thing about my life, I did it backwards. I did retirement backwards, without the financial 401k and all those things. I moved to a tropical beach in a great location with a lot of free time in my 30s, right? Well, not a lot of free time, but so I'm really satisfied with those things. A lot of people, it's funny because a lot of people are striving. Oh, one day I want to move to a tropical beach. One day I want to live in, something like, if you want to live to like Hawaii, if you think like, I'd love to live in Hawaii or Cancun, move to Thailand. Move somewhere else where you can immediately double your income. Petty Betty, minus a penny. Thanks. What about $5 a month for 20K? Well, we can do that for Canadians, because I know Canadians are a little bit cheap. My Canadian friends are like, what our because you guys have a lower currency rate, right? I like how you took that in stride, Rob. I got good Canadian friends, but you guys are a little cheaper. And I say that as a compliment. You're a little frugal. You guys are a little frugal. The dollar's worth less. I get it. One of my good Canadian friends, I remember she was like, she's like, yeah, she had coffee in her car, and she's like, yeah, Canadians, we just like to drink coffee in our car in the morning. And I was like, well, other people like to drink coffee in their car in the morning too. It's not just a Canadian thing. Yeah, no, I get it, Rob. I get it, Rob. I get it. Thanks for... Rob's like, I wouldn't give you 10, but I'd give you 5. How's that sound? I actually have some really good Canadian friends over here. I've always said, if I had to go, I know a lot of people from different countries, from being in a location where you meet people from all over the world. Canadians and New Zealanders, nicest people for sure, most down to earth. Most are not all. No, I try to use a dollar store approach. Most clients, less per client. No, I get it. Man, New York's must be getting pricey because like the Bay Area and those places. Well, at least New York's not becoming like San Francisco. San Francisco supposedly it's getting bad. It's getting really bad, I heard. It's just anyone that I know that talks about it. But yeah, plan your escape. Plan your escape, man. The world's a big place. The world's a really big place. I believe you. Are they? I have a client that lives in Manhattan that works for a big company there. And he was saying the subways were, and he had lived in New York before. So it's not like, New York was brand new to him. And he said he actually had a situation where, I know, and you can move to Malta. I don't think you mind me saying that. That looks like a beautiful place. I don't know much about it. A lot of people like Portugal too. You got to just work online. If you can find a way to work online, I've got a lot of clients and friends that have found a way in the last few years. Yeah, it got worse. Why did it get worse? Why is it worse? Is there just a total lack of respect? Is that what it is? One thing I feel like, man, there's no respect for your elders back in the States now. Like everyone's for themselves and their own little groups, or I don't know. And people are aggressive. No laws are being enforced. Wow. Man, you almost became a cop too. Jeez, man. It's sad because I'm not gonna get into the politicals. It's just sad, man. Move here. It's funny on my Instagram. Sometimes I read your story. I put up, and I'm new to Instagram, and I'm not, like I said, I'm kind of I like that I'm not completely active on social media in my life, and I'm not into that much, but I have to do it for work. No, you didn't make it political. It's fine. You're fine, man. But I just posted like a really nice picture of Thailand, and that got the most views and likes or loves or whatever it is. And it's like people want to see that more. Everyone always wants to know more about that. And I meet people all the time. It's like, you live here? Yes, I do. Very nice people. No crime. No crime here where I live. Which is really nice. When you're in those cities, you might have to move. You might have to move. Maybe not out of the States, maybe to another state. I noticed some people are moving to Montana. Because I know Texas, Florida, Tennessee are like the three ones that I hear a lot. Of course, Texas and Florida for taxes and some other reason, but I heard Tennessee. No respect for elders. Seriously. Like living in Thailand, it's just built in. It's just built in. You just don't disrespect people that are older than you, even if they're 5 or 6 years older than you. Actually, it's a nice thing to have. You know what people in America say? You earn respect. What? There's videos I see online where there's a 14-year-old kid telling the teacher off, showing up the teacher, and everyone in the comments are like, yeah, teachers are lazy as fuck. Yeah, that kid's a hero. It's like, what? It's a 35-year-old teacher there. Respect should be earned from a 14-year-old. You want to move to Dubai? Yeah, a lot of people go to Dubai. It's hot from what I hear. But like Montana would be a wild card because it just looks beautiful. Less population. I don't know. I've been there once as a 7 or 8-year-old. Went to a trout farm, went fishing on some river out there as a kid. Remember fishing on the river with my dad in his brown bag. It's kind of funny because someone told me, I think they were German, and they were telling me when they went to America, they were like, why do you guys always drink beer from a brown bag? And I'm like, what, were you at a liquor store? He goes, no, I was at a beach. And I was like, well, on beaches, sometimes alcohol is not allowed. But he's like, everyone was drinking beer from a brown bag. I don't know if that's done anymore. Dubai's got people I know that have lived there. I've had a few clients that live there. It's all expats. It's all people from other places a lot of times. There's a lot of work there, though. Fillmore district was always kind of bad, but my nephew lives right in the heart of the city in a pretty bad area, and he tells my mom when she comes to visit, like, don't come here at night. He's serious too. Hunted in the mountains of Montana, spike camped for a week. Beautiful country. Yeah, and then why you can't? Yeah, so that's why. If you ask me, like, if I put it in a nutshell, when people ask me about Thailand, I'm like, there's less rules. There's less rules here, but there's order, there's respect, and it's not overpopulated. Well, at least where I live. I don't know where Visitation Valley is. That's in San Francisco. I don't know where that is. Is that the Tenderloin district? Maybe. Best cheese in the world. One thing about Wisconsin that I read about years ago, you guys never have to worry about a water shortage. So, like, one thing when I go back to California, the water bill in California for, like, state water, it's way higher than it used to be. Like, when I was in my 20s, it was like $30 for your water bill. It's like $300-$400 now, and they control it, and they have shortages of water. But Wisconsin always has water too. Nice people from Wisconsin too. Nice people. I had an ex-girlfriend that was a foreign exchange student there in Wisconsin, and her host family, really nice people, man. Have to go there and eat mac and cheese. What's you just wrote parenting? I don't know what that's. Yeah, you love Mex. You just got to figure out how you're going to work online. I think with your set of skills and the job you do, I think you could do it, hon. You just got to look into it. You're smart. I'm not saying that to be nice either. I know. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of one of those things. Everyone that's a futurist is like, water's going to be scarce. Water's going to be scarce. So it would be valuable to be near large bodies of fresh water, right? You know what I mean? So, also, I don't know, this might be a little deep for some people here, but I'm happy that we got a nice little audience going here. Wow, you're on Lake Ontario? Cool, man. People that do remote viewing, whether you believe in that or not, where they sometimes they go into the future while they're in a trance state, and this one guy, I think his name's Steven or Stefan Schwartz, and he's been interviewed, and he actually did research where, I don't know if it was 1,000 different people, but it was a high number of people that did future visions of the world. Okay, so stay with me. If you're skeptical, cool. I'm okay with that. But he collects data on this, so it's not like he's just like, oh yeah, in the future I see this. So he said what he would do from that remote viewing for the future, which is basically like a little, I don't know if it's clairvoyance or not. I won't get into the definitions of it. But what he was doing is trying to collect the similarities of the mass amount of people that did the remote viewing, which is interesting, right? If if you did 1,000 people and 800 of them came up with a similar story to the future, that's pretty interesting, right? And one of the things he said is that a large majority, which a lot of people might agree with this, a large majority of the coasts are going to be underwater 20, 30 years. Like, and that's been because of earthquakes. For like California's on the plates. Like, people have thought of that before. Like right now, the Bay Area where I'm from, huge bay, surprise, surprise. If you've never been there before, it's massive, right? When I grew up, you could go out there, you go fishing, or you can walk along. It was highly polluted, even 30 years ago. But now they have a huge steel fence because they're anticipating the water rising. And so, whether it's an earthquake, natural disaster, I don't know if that, I'm not doom and gloom or trying to scare anyone, but areas closer to fresh water are going to be more valuable. Many communities, and I've seen this in farming areas where like someone has 5 acres and they have little communes. Those are going to be a little bit more common. People growing their own food and stuff. This is just according to his remote viewing feedback. But like LA, underwater. Some of these other areas, I forgot where other areas. And the interesting thing is, he said for cars, electric cars are actually going to get their energy from the road. He said this came up over and over again, and they already have that. They're working on that technology that the car will get the energy from driving on the road, which makes sense because like these headphones that I have, I put on a little disc and they get the energy off the bottom, right? So you're in a good location, Ben. That's all I'm saying. Maybe it's gonna be some highly valuable property being by fresh water, and the ocean's not gonna make it to you. So this is what I love about sometimes these live streams. We go in different directions. I got my regulars on too, and You Love Mex made a special appearance today. What is it today? It's Friday night for you. I'm gonna email you about this guy too, and I'm gonna email him. And you two are in the same age. I mean, I don't know when it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? That was interesting though. He said about for electric cars, that's going to be the answer, that you don't have to plug in anymore. You just drive on the roads, and the roads will be like toll roads, but you won't ever have to fill them up. And he said that came up over and over again. And the other one that I don't know if it was in the same study, but they said New Zealand's going to be one of the number one places because of where it's located. It won't go underwater. New Zealand looks beautiful. Everyone I know that goes there and my friends that are from there, it just seems like one of the best places on earth. Haven't been, but it's not my field, man. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know how the road creates energy, but like I said, so like this, that I put my ear pods on, right? Jabra ear pods or whatever they're called. How does that, like you could probably explain how electric comes from that. I don't know. That's not my field, dude. But it makes sense. That'd be cool. Like you never have to fill in again, and then you just get the energy from the road. Supposedly this is already in the works. It's kind of interesting because it would be interesting for when this guy does this future stuff, like what's going on with the Bitcoin or the money situation. I'm an electrical engineer. I'll be designing it. Really? So is that a real true thing? Or are you just being sarcastic? Is that wow, cool. Electrical engineer. Wow. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like I said, interesting that multiple people, like the guy that did this study, He wasn't just like, oh, I just came out with this, but okay. I'll just stop talking about stuff like that, Riflin. You're the expert. I don't know anything. All right, folks, I do have to go with 13 on deck. This was great today, man. I really appreciate you all. I'll probably be back on deck tomorrow. That's so hot here. Yeah, we're electrical engineer. Good. Let me just go through the comments real quick. If you guys have any quick questions, go ahead and shoot them. Saw a documentary on this. Good. You did remote viewing earlier today? Okay. Man, I've since I started doing hypnotherapy and working with people and coaching, it's really changed me in a good way, spiritually. Here we go. Maybe I should start a wouldn't that be good matchmaking? The only thing about matchmaking, don't blame me if it goes wrong, right? I appreciate you, Justin Brown. You saw some things? Cool, man. We'll have to talk about that in the future. You know, it's really interesting, Rob, because I know you're a huge fan of Corey Wayne. He's an Edgar Casey fan. Edgar Casey, he has a video on Edgar Casey too. And he's a spiritual guy. Edgar Casey, he didn't call it remote viewing. He went into a hypnotic state and recorded everything. That's an interesting character if you want to go down that rabbit hole. If you guys want to see that, you can. Isn't it crazy? You can just mention a name. It's like Google it. Google it. I think I'm going to stick with this background. This works a little bit better than the big curtain, huh? Which I always get. Like, take the curtain down. You guys, you need more space behind you. I know that's not my thing. It's like when it's rainy season here, you got to look outside before you leave. It's like, oh, the clouds just come in. It's like, whoo. All right, folks, it's curtains. Take care. Keep being you.